Hi friends, today we're going to talk about solving quadratics using graphs and tables. This is just a picture of a parabola that would occur if you kick a soccer ball in the air. And if we put that on a graph, we can see how long the soccer ball is in the air for. If we continue this, it would end right there at 10, 0. So it would be in the air for 10 seconds. Quadratic equation is an equation of the second degree. We already know that. The related function of a quadratic equation with 0 on one side is a quadratic expression given on the other. So we learned this last unit. The x-intercepts of x squared minus 16 equals 0 are right here, negative 4, 0, and positive 4, 0. The solutions of a quadratic equation are the value or values that make the equation true. So the solutions are the numbers we can put in for x here to make that equation be equal to 0. The graph of that function has two intercepts, so the equation has two solutions. The number of intercepts is the same as the number of solutions, and actually our solutions are just the x values of the intercepts. So here we see an intercept is at negative 4, and one of our solutions is x equals negative 4. We have an intercept at positive 4, 0, and our solution is at x equals positive 4. Solutions to the equation of the form f of x equals 0 are called the zeros of the function. The zeros of the function correspond to the x-intercepts of the function. So the first thing we're going to do here is finding solutions by graphing. The solutions are just the x values of the x-intercepts. So when we wrote x-intercepts, we wrote it as a point, whatever the x is, comma 0. When it's a solution, we just say x equals whatever the x value of the x-intercept is. So this one, 5x squared minus 20x plus 20. I'm going to show you what the graph of that looks like. If we look at this graph, I see it has one x-intercept. That x-intercept is at 2, 0, which means the solution to this is just 2. So if I just draw a rough graph, a rough sketch of what that graph looks like, it had an intercept at 2, 0. And then the answer then, or the solution, is just x equals 2. So the intercept is at 2, 0. The solution is x equals 2. Let's look at another one. Negative x squared plus 3x minus 3. If we look at this graph, I notice that it's not touching the x-axis at all. So it has no x-intercepts, which means it has no solutions. We're just going to quickly sketch this graph. The vertex was at 1.5, comma, negative 0.75. And if I look back at this graph, there's my vertex, and it has a y-intercept at negative 3. So I'll make sure that's on my graph. It doesn't need to be a perfect graph, just a rough sketch. But again, there are no x-intercepts, which means the answer to this is no solutions, or no solution. Let's look at one more. Negative 4x squared plus 4. If I look at that graph, when I touch the graph here, the x-intercepts come up and the vertex comes up. This one has two x-intercepts at negative 1, 0 and 1, 0, which means it will have two solutions. So if I draw a quick sketch of that, it had an x-intercept at negative 1, 0, an x-intercept at positive 1, 0, and the y-intercept was up at 4, 0. And again, These intercepts are my solutions. So x equals -1 and x equals 1. You're also going to have to be able to look at a table and determine where the solutions are. These next few slides just show you how to make a table in Desmos, but the tables will be given to you. So we're going to skip those slides. When you're looking at a table, the solutions of the table, on the table, are the x value or values when y equals 0. Same thing as the x-intercepts, it's just finding the x-intercepts from the table. So if I look here, I see I have an x-intercept. Sorry, that's not where I meant to put that. An x-intercept here, because the y value is 0, and the x-intercept here, because the y value is 0. So our final answer then would be x equals 1 and x equals 6. This one, I see a y value of 0 here and a y value of 0 here. Again, we're looking for where y is 0, the x value when y is 0. And here the two x values are x is -2 and x is 3. This one, there's my first where y equals 0. There's my second one where y equals 0. So our final answers here is x equals -1 and x equals 3. So we'll look at one word problem here. Anastasia hits her golf ball off a tee. The height of the golf ball is modeled by the function f of x is -5x squared plus 25x plus 1, where x is the number of seconds after the ball is hit. How long is the ball in the air for? We're going to sketch a little graph of this. Let me open my Desmos here. I'm just going to put that into Desmos. The vertex is way up top. I'm not worried about that. I'm just worried about my x-intercepts here. It looks like my x-intercepts are at -0.03969 and positive 5.03969. We want to know how long the ball is in the air for. So it can either be in the air for -0.03 seconds or 5 seconds. The -0.03 doesn't make sense, which means the ball is in the air for 5 seconds. I'm just going to do a quick, rough sketch of this. So it looks like it started over here, ended about 5, and went way up. Again, I don't care about how far up it goes. I just care about my x-intercepts. This was 5.03, 0. So my answer then would be about 5 seconds. There's another word problem on here, but we're not going to worry about that. All right, friends, have a good day.